The air in the theater is thick, a nauseating mix of expensive cologne and stale popcorn. That's the first thing that hits me, the smell. It's supposed to be my night, the premiere of Crimson Dawn, the film that's meant to launch my career, make Maya Chen a name people remember. But the metallic taste of betrayal already coats my tongue, bitter and sharp. I know, even before the credits roll, what I'm about to see, or rather, what I won't see. My heart hammers against my ribs, a frantic bird trapped in a cage. The lights dim and the screen flickers to life. I watch, my hands clenched so tight my nails dig into my palms. The story unfolds, grand and sweeping, just as we'd filmed it. But then it comes, or doesn't come, the scene. My scene. The one I poured every ounce of my soul into, the one that made the crew cry, the one director James Morrison himself had called a revelation. It's gone, sliced out, vanished as if it never existed. A choked sound escapes me, and a few heads turn in the plush darkness. I can feel my face flush, a hot wave of shame and anger. My breakout moment, the raw, emotional monologue that was supposed to be my signature, replaced by an awkward cut. A lingering shot of the male lead looking vaguely pensive. It doesn't even make sense. The narrative now has a gaping hole, a missing piece of the puzzle. The film continues, but I can't see it, can't hear it. All I see is red, a roaring inferno of fury that ignites within me. All I hear is Morrison's voice from that afternoon, smooth and condescending when I'd cornered him, a tremor of unease already in my voice. "Maya, darling," he'd said, his hand patting my arm in that patronizing way of his. It was a tough decision, purely for pacing. The scene was a little much. Overpowered the main narrative, you understand. I didn't understand, not then, but I do now. The glint in his eyes, the smug little upturn of his lips. He enjoyed this, twisting the knife. He'd been doing this to me, to others, for years, building us up, then tearing us down, stealing our best moments for reasons I could never fathom. Greed, insecurity, sheer cruelty. The film ends. Applause thunders, polite at first, then swelling as Morrison takes the stage, his smile wide and insincere. He thanks the cast, the crew, his voice dripping with false modesty. He mentions my name, a fleeting afterthought, and of course the lovely Maya Chen, a real trooper. A trooper? Is that what I am? Someone who just takes it? My body trembles with a rage so potent it feels like it could shatter me. But beneath the rage, a cold resolve begins to form. I won't let him get away with it, not this time. As he basks in the manufactured glory, I slip my hand into my purse, my fingers closing around my phone. I'd had a feeling, a desperate last-minute hunch. During our chat that afternoon, when he'd so casually dismissed my work, my contribution, my soul, I'd pressed record. It was a quiet power move, something he'd never suspect from the lovely Maya Chen. His voice, recorded, smug and dismissive, is now my weapon. Honestly, Maya, your scene, while passionate, it just pulls focus. And frankly, some of us felt it made our lead look weak. We can't have that, can we? This film is his vehicle, after all. Your part is to support. Sometimes that means being less. His confession, his admission that he deliberately sabotaged me, is all there. I can't stay. I can't breathe this air, thick with his lies and the cloying scent of popcorn and deceit. I stand, my legs unsteady, and push my way out of the row, ignoring the curious glances. I need air. I need to think. The lobby is a blur of smiling faces and champagne flutes. I push through the glass doors and out into the night. Rain. Of course it's raining. Fat, cold drops lash against my skin, plastering my hair to my face, instantly soaking through my premiere dress. It's a fitting, pathetic fallacy for the death of my dreams. I stumble towards the curb, fumbling for my phone and my mind racing. What do I do? Leak the recording? Confront him publicly? My vision blurs, whether from rain or tears, I don't know. Headlights, bright, blinding. A horn blares, a sound swallowed by the downpour and the sudden screeching protest of tires on wet asphalt. I turn, a gasp caught in my throat. There's no time. The world explodes in a symphony of twisted metal and shattering glass. Pain, white hot and absolute, rips through me. Then, just as quickly, it's gone. Darkness rushes in, and the last thing I register is the lingering, ironic scent of expensive cologne and stale popcorn, now mingled with the metallic tang of my own blood. My breakthrough scene might have been cut, but this exit? This one felt tragically, irrevocably final. Darkness, then a groan. Not mine, surely. My body aches, a dull, throbbing protest against something. The premiere? The truck? It's fuzzy, like trying to see through a fogged-up window. I try to move, and a jolt of pain, less sharp than I remember, shoots through me. My eyes flutter open. This isn't a hospital. The ceiling is low, water-stained in the familiar pattern I've stared at for countless sleepless nights. My cramped studio apartment. My threadbare blanket, its rough texture a familiar chafe against my skin. I can hear the gurgle and hiss of my ancient coffee machine in the tiny kitchenette, a sound that's been the soundtrack to my struggling actress days for years. Panic jolts through me, cold and sharp. Am I paralyzed? Is this some kind of vivid, pain-induced hallucination before the final fade? I sit up too quickly, my head spins, but the room stays stubbornly, undeniably real. The cluttered bookshelf, the stack of scripts on my worn-out desk, the wilting plant I always forget to water. It's all here. My life. My old life. I scramble out of bed, my legs tangled in the cheap sheets. My reflection in the cracked bathroom mirror stops me cold. It's me, but younger. Fewer lines around my eyes, a freshness to my skin that I haven't seen in years. I snatch my phone from the nightstand, an older model, one I haven't used since. My breath catches. The date. October 17th, 2019. 5 years. I'm 5 years in the past. My mind reels. It's impossible. A dream? Coma-induced fantasy? But the rough blanket, the gurgling coffee machine, the undeniable reality of my younger face, it's too much. Too detailed. It feels real. The rain, the premiere, the truck, had that been a premonition? A horrifying glimpse of a future that hadn't happened yet? Or had it happened, and somehow, impossibly, I'm back? Rebirth. The word echoes in my mind, a second chance. The initial terror begins to recede, replaced by a strange, heady mix of disbelief and opportunity. If this is real, if I'm truly back before it all went wrong, before Morrison systematically dismantled my career, before he cut that scene from Crimson Dawn, then I have a chance to change things, a chance for revenge. A slow, cold smile touches my lips. James Morrison. He has no idea what's coming. He thinks Maya Chen is a trooper, easily dismissed, easily broken. He's about to find out how wrong he is. My hand trembles as I pick up the phone again. This time, not to check the date, but to act. My first quiet power move in this new timeline. I open the browser, my fingers flying across the small screen. Morrison Entertainment stock prices 2019. James Morrison scandals. Morrison Entertainment vulnerabilities. I need information. I need a plan. I need to be smarter, faster, more ruthless than he ever was. I calculate every move, every possibility. The old Maya was naive, trusting. This Maya seethes with the memory of betrayal, armed with the terrible knowledge of what he will do. The coffee machine sputters its final complaint, signaling that the bitter brew is ready. I pour myself a cup, the familiar cheap aroma filling the small apartment. It's the taste of my past, of struggle and rejection. But now it tastes different. It tastes like fuel. As I sip the scalding liquid, my phone buzzes on the counter. An email notification. My heart gives a strange little lurch. I know that notification. I remember it with a chilling clarity. I pick up the phone, the subject line reads, "Casting call Crimson Dawn." It's starting, the exact same path that led to my original nightmare, my professional ruin, and ultimately, my death. The role that Morrison will use to build me up and then tear me down. But this time, I'm not walking into his trap line. This time, I know the game. And this time, Maya Chen isn't just a trooper. She's a goddamn phoenix, and she's ready to set his world on fire. He thought he cut my scene? I'm about to rewrite the whole script. The war has already begun and he doesn't even know he's a player. The next few months are a blur of calculated risks and quiet triumphs. Living in the past with knowledge of the future is a superpower, and I wield it with precision. The struggling actress facade remains, but beneath it, I'm a strategist, an investor, a silent player moving pieces on a board only I can see. I remember the articles, the late-night talk show buzz, the surprise box office smashes. Small, independent films, scripts that the big studios had passed on, the ones with no big names but brilliant stories. Lunar Tides, Echo Canyon, The Last Bookseller. I'd wept watching them in my previous life, moved by their artistry, oblivious to their financial potential. Now they are my lottery tickets. I scrape together every penny I have, my meager savings, the small emergency fund my parents insisted I keep. It's not much, but it's enough to get a foot in the door with micro investments, angel investor platforms I'd idly read about before. The crisp sound of contracts being signed, even digital ones, becomes my new favorite melody. Each signature is a nail in Morrison's future coffin. My predictions are flawless. Lunar Tides becomes a Sundance darling, its distribution rights selling for a fortune. Echo Canyon goes viral from a TikTok trend I knew was coming. The Last Bookseller wins a surprise Oscar. My initial investments multiply, then multiply again. The numbers in my discreetly managed bank account climb at a dizzying rate. I trade the threadbare blanket for a high thread count Egyptian cotton, my cramped studio for a modest but secure apartment in a better part of town. The smooth silk of expensive clothes, bought not for auditions but for boardroom meetings I attend under an assumed name, feels like armor. But money alone isn't enough. Morrison is an institution, a titan. To topple him, I need more than financial clout. I need to weaken him from the inside, create chaos in his perfectly curated world. My next quiet power move, I start to anonymously fund rival studios. Small ones, hungry ones, the kind Morrison dismisses as gnats. I remember the projects he'll be greenlighting in the coming year, the tentpole releases he's banking on. Through carefully constructed shell corporations and intermediaries, I inject capital into 3 specific projects that, with the right push, will go head-to-head with his. Helios Rising, a sci-fi epic to rival his Galaxy Titans. Midnight Serenade, a musical romance to challenge his saccharine Love in Paris. And Shadow Broker, a gritty crime thriller poised to steal the thunder from his predictable action flick. I orchestrate their success from the shadows. While my financial empire grows, I begin to build a different kind of network. I remember the whispers, the hushed conversations in makeup trailers, the bitter asides at industry parties, actresses, writers, even a few directors, all wronged by Morrison. Sarah, whose breakout role was mysteriously recast. David, whose screenplay was stolen and rebadged. Chloe, who was blacklisted after refusing his advances. Their stories were footnotes in my past life. Now they are my potential army. I reach out, cautiously at first. An anonymous email here, a chance encounter at a coffee shop there. I don't reveal my hand, not yet. I just listen, empathize, plant seeds of solidarity. You're not alone, I tell them. His time is coming. They are hesitant, scared. Morrison's reach is long, but the shared bitterness is a powerful glue. Slowly, a network of silent allies begins to form. I manipulate the currents of resentment, turning them into a tide that will eventually sweep him away. The irony isn't lost on me. I, Maya Chen, the actress he tried to erase, am becoming a power broker, a kingmaker, a force that could conquer his carefully constructed domain. The struggling artist is learning the art of war, then it happens. The call I've been dreading and, in a twisted way, anticipating. My agent, her voice buzzing with excitement. Maya, you won't believe this. James Morrison himself called. He wants to see you for Crimson Dawn. It's the lead role, the one everyone's talking about. My blood runs cold. The same role, the same film, the same gilded cage. He's dangling the bait just like before. He has no idea he's not the fisherman this time. He's the fish. Tell him I'm interested, I say, my voice carefully neutral, a stark contrast to the triumphant war drums pounding in my chest. Very interested. The game is truly on. And this Maya doesn't just have talent. She has a war chest, a network, and the burning fury of a woman scorned and reborn. I walk into James Morrison's office, a place that still reeks of stale cigarette smoke and shattered dreams, the ghost of my past humiliation clinging to the expensive leather chairs. But this time, I'm not the wide-eyed, hopeful actress desperate for a break. I'm a Trojan horse, beautiful and hollow, filled with secrets and a burning desire for retribution. Maya, darling, so good to see you, Morrison gushes, his smile as wide and predatory as ever. He stands, extending a hand. His grip is firm, confident. He thinks he's in control. He has no idea. Mr. Morrison, it's an honor, I reply, my voice a careful blend of gratitude and naivete. We exchange pleasantries, the stale air thick with unspoken agendas. He talks about Crimson Dawn, about his vision, about how I'm perfect for the role of Alara. It's the same spiel he gave me 5 years ago, the one that had me walking on air. Now, it just fuels the cold fire in my gut. My new lawyer, a shark named Evelyn Reed, whom I'd headhunted with my newfound wealth, had negotiated my contract with surgical precision. On the surface, it looked standard. But woven into the fine print were clauses Morrison, in his arrogance, had barely glanced at. Clauses ensuring access to dailies, script revisions, and even marketing materials. He thought he was getting a pliable actress. He was getting a mole with unprecedented access. I'm just so grateful for this opportunity, I say, my eyes wide, playing the part he expects. I'll do whatever it takes to make this film a success. And I mean it, just not his success. The friendly meetings become a regular occurrence. Script discussions, character development sessions, lunches where he dispenses wisdom and tries to gauge my loyalty. During these encounters, my quiet power moves are subtle but devastating. A pen left behind on his desk, a strategically dropped USB drive near his computer, a gift of a sleek new desk plant for his credenza, all equipped with state-of-the-art listening devices. He prides himself on his secure office, but he's so used to people fawning over him, he never suspects the ingenue. I deceive him with every smile, every nod of agreement. The recordings are a goldmine. I listen to them late at night, the bitter taste of coffee on my tongue, as Morrison's voice fills my small, secure apartment. He's careless, arrogant, openly discussing his manipulations. Her scene was too good, overshadowed Mark, had to trim it. Yeah, told her it was for pacing. She bought it, poor thing. And worse, a pattern emerges, more sinister than I had ever imagined. It isn't just about cutting scenes. He takes credit. He steals ideas, specifically from women. That twist with the locket? That was all Amelia, the intern. Fired her last week, of course. Can't have her claiming credit when the reviews come out praising my genius. Maria's dialogue was sharp. Too sharp for a supporting character. Softened it, made it mine. He's a vampire, draining the talent and creativity from the women around him, leaving them hollowed out and discarded, while he takes the bows. I infiltrate his world, and the more I learn, the colder my fury burns. This isn't just about my scene anymore. It's about every woman he's ever silenced, every talent he's ever extinguished. The tension on set is palpable, though only I seem to understand its true source. Other actresses, young and hopeful like I once was, begin to experience creative differences. Their roles shrink. Their scenes are rewritten, often by Morrison himself, their original contributions erased. One by one, they disappear from projects, their agents citing scheduling conflicts or personal reasons. I know better. Morrison is pruning his garden, ensuring no other flower outshines him. I strategize, documenting everything, feeding anonymous tips to a hungry investigative journalist I've cultivated. Another piece in my elaborate game. Morrison starts watching me differently. His smiles are still there, but his eyes are sharper, more calculating. A casual remark I make about a script change, a suggestion that's a little too insightful for a naive actress, he picks up on it. He's like a shark sensing a drop of blood in the water. He doesn't know what it is, but he knows something is off. One afternoon, during a supposed coffee meeting to discuss a crucial scene, one I know he plans to butcher, he leans in, his voice a low purr. You know, Maya, you're a very interesting girl, full of surprises. His gaze is intense, probing. The stale cigarette smell from his jacket is suddenly suffocating. My heart thuds. Does he know? Has one of my devices been found? Did someone talk? The bitter taste of the cheap studio coffee suddenly feels like poison. He's toying with me, a cat with a mouse. But he doesn't realize this mouse has teeth, and she's been patiently waiting to bite. The cliffhanger isn't just in his scripts anymore. It's my life. And I'm the one walking the tightrope, with James Morrison watching, waiting for me to fall. The market moves just as I predicted. The tech bubble I foresaw bursts, and the safe haven stocks I'd quietly accumulated soar. My anonymous investments in those rival studios, they pay off spectacularly. Helios Rising isn't just a hit, it's a cultural phenomenon. Its stunning visuals and complex narrative completely overshadowing Morrison's tired Galaxy Titans. The thunderous applause at its premiere, an event I attend as an anonymous, heavily disguised investor, is a symphony to my ears. Midnight Serenade becomes the date movie of the year, its soundtrack topping charts leaving Love in Paris feeling quaint and outdated. Shadow Broker earns critical acclaim and a cult following for its gritty realism, making Morrison's action flick look like a cartoon. My war chest isn't just full, it's overflowing. I now have the capital, the sheer financial muscle, to do what was once an impossible dream, make a hostile takeover bid for Morrison Entertainment. The name Maya Chen might still be a whisper in Hollywood, but the shadowy figures controlling my shell companies are starting to make very loud noises on Wall Street. While Morrison's cinematic offerings flounder, his personal world begins to unravel. The investigative journalist I've been feeding information to publishes a series of damning articles, meticulously sourced, exposing a pattern of financial misconduct and predatory behavior within Morrison Entertainment. The stories don't name names, not yet, but the descriptions are chillingly specific. The industry buzzes, sponsors get nervous, his carefully cultivated image starts to crack. Simultaneously, I use my network of wronged actresses and writers. Armed with the legal expertise of Evelyn Reed, we find loopholes in their draconian non-disclosure agreements, clauses in their unfair contracts that Morrison, in his haste and arrogance, overlooked. One by one, they are liberated, free to speak their truth, free to reclaim their careers. Their stories, once whispered in fear, begin to surface, adding fuel to the growing firestorm around Morrison. My quietest, most audacious power move unfolds in the sterile offices of debt management firms. Through a labyrinth of shell companies, I begin buying up Morrison Entertainment's debt. He's leveraged to the hilt, always chasing the next big thing, always borrowing against future successes that are now failing to materialize. He has no idea that his biggest creditor is the actress whose career he tried to demolish. The perfect storm I'd orchestrated hits Morrison Entertainment with full force. Plummeting stock prices, fleeing investors, public scandals, and the looming threat of his debts being called in. His empire, once a fortress, is crumbling brick by brick. The man who prided himself on control is losing it spectacularly. The electric tension in the air across Hollywood is palpable. Everyone is waiting for the final explosion, the definitive act that will devastate his reign. I'm in my dressing room on the set of Crimson Dawn, a film that is now ironically behind schedule and over budget due to Morrison's increasing paranoia and erratic behavior. We're filming what's left of my scenes, the ones he hasn't yet managed to butcher entirely. I'm outwardly calm, focused, the consummate professional. Inwardly, I'm watching the news alerts on my phone, a grim satisfaction settling in my chest. The door bursts open. No knock, just Morrison, his face flushed, his eyes wild. He's no longer the smooth, predatory director, he's a cornered animal. You, he snarls, his voice hoarse. He strides towards me, and for a fleeting second, the old fear flickers. He's bigger than me, his presence overwhelming in the small space. He slams the door shut behind him. We're alone. What did you do? He demands, his fists clenched. The air crackles with his fury. He's not asking about a scene, about a line reading. He's asking about his life, his empire, everything that's currently burning down around him. He's desperate, he's dangerous. And he's looking straight at me, the actress he thought he could break, the one he so carelessly underestimated. He might not know how I did it, but somehow, in his unraveling mind, He knows I'm the architect of his ruin. The electric tension I'd felt across the industry now condenses, filling this small room, suffocating and charged, right before the inevitable career-ending confrontation he himself has initiated. "You've been busy, haven't you, Maya?" Morrison's voice is a low growl, the curated charm stripped away to reveal something raw and ugly beneath. The suffocating scent of his cologne, now mixed with an edge of desperation, fills my dressing room. It's the same cologne he wore that night, the night of the premiere, the night I died. The irony isn't lost on me. "I don't know what you mean, James," I say, my voice surprisingly steady. Inside, my heart is a frantic drum, but I channel Alara, my character in Crimson Dawn, a woman of quiet strength, a survivor. He takes a step closer, invading my personal space. "Don't play dumb with me. The stocks, the articles, the whispers. It all started when you came back onto the scene. How do you know things, Maya? Things you couldn't possibly know?" His eyes narrow, searching mine for a flicker of something. He senses the unnaturalness of it, the impossibility of my foresight. The sound of rain begins to patter against the window of my trailer, a soft, insidious rhythm that echoes the downpour on the night of my previous death. A shiver traces its way down my spine, cold and sharp. He's close, too close to the truth about my impossible return. I tremble just for a moment, a genuine tremor of fear. But then the image of my own lifeless body on that rain-slicked street flashes in my mind, and the fear is consumed by a glacial rage. He took my life once. He won't do it again. "You're right, James," I say, my voice dropping, losing its manufactured sweetness. "I do know things. I know about the actresses you've silenced, the writers whose work you've stolen, the financial crimes you've so carefully hidden." I stand my ground, meeting his furious gaze with one of my own. "And I have proof. Of everything." His face contorts. "Proof? You have nothing. You're a nobody." "Am I?" I allow a small, cold smile to touch my lips. My final, quiet power move. "Let's find out." I reach into my pocket, not for a weapon, but for my phone. With a few taps, a prearranged conference call connects. "Gentlemen, ladies," I say, my voice clear and strong. "James Morrison is here with me now. He seems to have some questions about his current predicaments. Perhaps you'd like to listen in?" On the other end of the line are the key industry insiders I've cultivated. Powerful agents, studio heads who despise Morrison, influential journalists, and, most importantly, the board members of Morrison Entertainment who are already looking for a way out. I'd laid the groundwork for months, connecting them, feeding them information, preparing them for this very moment. I am broadcasting his meltdown live. Morrison's eyes widen in disbelief, then dawning horror as he realizes what I've done. He lunges for the phone, but I step back out of his reach. "It's too late, James," I tell him, my voice echoing slightly from the phone's speaker. "Your audience is waiting." His world destroys itself in real time. He can hear the shocked gasps, the furious whispers on the other end of the line as I calmly detail his threats, his implied knowledge of my unnatural foresight, his desperate accusations. He tries to speak, to deny, but his words are a jumbled mess of threats and pleas. He sounds unhinged, broken. The fallout is immediate and catastrophic. Before our conversation even ends, notifications are pinging, sponsors are pulling out, distribution deals are collapsing. His few remaining allies are distancing themselves as fast as they can. By the time he stumbles out of my dressing room, a broken man, his empire is already ashes. A week later, Morrison Entertainment throws a farewell party for its disgraced founder. It's more of a wake. The champagne flows, but it tastes of schadenfreude. I attend, of course, not as Maya Chen, the rising starlet, but as a silent observer, a ghost at his public execution. The sweet taste of victory is potent, almost intoxicating. He sees me across the crowded room, his eyes hollow. He knows. As I'm about to leave, a man I don't recognize, impeccably dressed, with eyes that see everything, approaches me. "Miss Chen?" he asks, his voice discreet. Or perhaps I should say, the architect behind Phoenix Investments? That's the primary shell company I'd used for the debt acquisition and stock manipulation. My heart skips a beat. How does he know? I represent a consortium of investors, he continues, handing me a card. We've been impressed by your recent maneuvers. We believe Morrison Entertainment, under new leadership, has significant potential. We're prepared to offer you triple the current market value for your controlling shares. Triple, an amount that would make me unimaginably wealthy, free to disappear, to live any life I wanted. But it would also mean walking away from the chance to rebuild, to make things right, to ensure what happened to me, to so many others, never happens again. He smiles, a thin, knowing expression. Think about it. Your revenge is complete. Why not take the spoils and enjoy them? The sweet taste of victory suddenly feels less satisfying, more complicated. He's right, my revenge is complete. Morrison is finished. But is that all I wanted? Is that all this second chance was for? I look at the card in my hand. The cliffhanger isn't over. A new one has just begun. The offer from the mysterious investor consortium hangs in the air for days. A glittering temptation. Triple the value. Enough money to vanish, to live a life of quiet luxury, far away from the backstabbing and brutality of Hollywood. But every time I consider it, I see their faces. Sarah, David, Chloe, and countless others, their talent stifled, their dreams crushed by men like Morrison. And I see my own face, younger, more innocent, full of a hope that was so cruelly extinguished. No, this isn't just about revenge anymore, it's about revolution. I decline the offer. The consortium is surprised, perhaps even a little annoyed, but they retreat. They were testing me, I realize, gauging my ambition. Now they know. A month later, after navigating a legal and financial labyrinth that would have made my former self's head spin, I walk into the towering Morrison Entertainment building. Not as an actress hoping for an audition, but as its new owner. The satisfying click of my heels on the cold marble floors of the lobby echoes my arrival. This is my domain now. My first act is to call an all-hands meeting. The entire staff gathers in the main auditorium, a sea of anxious, curious faces. They've been through hell, watching their company implode, their leader disgraced. They don't know what to expect from me, this relatively unknown actress, who somehow orchestrated the downfall of a titan and now holds their futures in her hands. I stand on the stage where Morrison once preened and pontificated. Morrison Entertainment is dead, I announce, my voice clear and firm, resonating through the silent room. A few gasps. But something new is about to rise from its ashes. My quiet power move, the one that will define my tenure. We are rebranding, effective immediately. This company will be known as Phoenix Studios. A murmur ripples through the crowd. Phoenix, reborn. They get it. Our mission is simple: to find and nurture true talent, to tell stories that matter, and to ensure that every voice is heard, every contribution is valued. The changes are swift and decisive. I command the restructuring with a clarity that surprises even myself. I systematically go through the personnel files, the project logs, the hushed office gossip I'd collected. Every single person Morrison had suppressed, demoted, or unfairly fired, I seek them out. The talented assistant director he kept fetching his coffee? She's now heading her own project. The brilliant female screenwriter whose ideas he constantly stole? She's now head of development. The veteran editor he'd sidelined for being too old school? He's overseeing post-production on our flagship film. I rebuild the company from the ground up, filling it with the very people Morrison had tried to erase. My executive office is vast, overlooking the city, a world away from my cramped studio apartment. The rich leather smell of my new executive chair is a constant reminder of how far I've come. But I don't let it make me complacent. There's too much work to do. My first executive decision is deeply personal. Crimson Dawn. The film that started it all, it's still in limbo, a casualty of Morrison's downfall. I pull it from the shelf. We're re-editing it. I tell my new head of post-production, the very same editor Morrison had disparaged. We're restoring every single scene he cut. We're making the film it was always meant to be. The industry veterans who once ignored me, who wouldn't have given Maya Chen the time of day, now dominate my call logs. Their assistants desperately trying to secure meetings. They see the shift in power, the new landscape I'm creating. Some are genuinely intrigued by Phoenix Studios' vision. Others are just trying to curry favor to ensure they're on the right side of history. I meet with them all, polite but firm, always remembering who stood by and did nothing while Morrison reigned. Things are moving fast, almost too fast. The energy at Phoenix Studios is electric, a potent mix of excitement and relief. We're greenlighting new projects, championing new voices, creating a buzz that Hollywood hasn't seen in years. Then Evelyn Reed, my lawyer, my confidant, the one who helped me navigate the treacherous waters of the takeover, walks into my office, her face grim. Maya, we have a problem. A big one. She slides a document across my polished desk. It's an old contract, one of Morrison's. Buried deep within the boilerplate, in language so convoluted it's almost designed to be missed, is a clause. A poison pill, a fail-safe he'd planted years ago just in case he ever lost control of his company. It's a time bomb, and it's set to go off in 72 hours. If we can't defuse it, Phoenix Studios, my new empire, everything I've fought for, could be destroyed before it even has a chance to truly fly. Morrison, even in his disgrace, had one final trap waiting for me. The news of Morrison's poison pill clause hits like a physical blow. 72 hours. That's all the time we have before this obscure legal technicality he'd woven into the company's foundations could unravel everything. Phoenix Studios, my dream of a fairer Hollywood, could be stillborn. My luxurious office, usually a symbol of my triumph, suddenly feels like a cage. The rich leather of my chair offers no comfort. Panic, cold and sharp, tries to claw its way in, but I shove it down. I've faced worse. I've come back from the dead, for crying out loud. I will not let that monster win, not even from the ruins of his own making. Get the team together, I tell Evelyn, my voice tight but controlled. Legal, finance, everyone. We work around the clock. There has to be a way out of this. The next 48 hours are a blur of caffeine, adrenaline, and a desperate race against time. The rapid clicking of keyboards in the conference room becomes our war drum. Lawyers pore over archaic corporate bylaws, financial analysts run frantic projections, and I, armed with my intimate knowledge of Morrison's manipulative psyche, try to anticipate his endgame. What was he thinking when he planted this? What was its ultimate purpose? We explore every avenue. Can we challenge it in court? Too slow? Can we buy our way out? The clause is designed to make that prohibitively expensive, essentially bankrupting the company to remove it. Morrison, even in his downfall, was thorough in his malice. I'm exhausted, my eyes burning from lack of sleep, the warm glow of countless monitor screens reflecting my growing desperation. Then, as Evelyn is explaining a particularly convoluted section of the company's original charter, something clicks. A memory. A detail from my past life, something I'd signed without truly understanding. Wait, I interrupt, my mind racing. The original talent contracts. The ones Morrison forced on us when we were starting out. The ones with those ridiculous exclusivity clauses and profit-sharing schemes that only benefited him. Evelyn looks puzzled. What about them, Maya? They're mostly null and void now, or superseded by newer agreements. Not all of them, I insist. Get me my original contract for Crimson Dawn. The one from 5 years ago before everything. A junior lawyer scurries off and returns minutes later with a dusty, forgotten file. My hands tremble slightly as I open it. There it is, in black and white, my signature. The signature of a naive young actress so desperate for a chance she would have signed anything. And buried within it, a clause Morrison himself had drafted, designed to give him ultimate control over an actor's image and work in perpetuity. But also, crucially, containing language about the company's obligations to its originally contracted talent in the event of fundamental restructuring or change of ownership. It's a long shot, a legal Hail Mary. But the wording, it's ambiguous enough, and coupled with the poison pill's own convoluted phrasing. My quiet power move, the one that will save Phoenix Studios, comes not from my newfound wealth or influence, but from the chains Morrison himself had tried to bind me with. We argue that the poison pill, if activated, would fundamentally breach the original spirit of these older talent contracts, particularly those like mine where the company stood to profit indefinitely from an actor's early work. It's a technicality, a loophole Morrison, in his greed to control everything, had inadvertently created. He wanted to own us, and in doing so, he gave us the key to disarming his final bomb. The legal battle is intense, fought in hushed, urgent conference calls with the trustees overseeing the poison pill's execution. They're resistant, but Evelyn is a shark, and armed with my insights, she picks apart their arguments, one by one. Morrison's own greed, his desire to screw over young talent, becomes the instrument of his final defeat. The revelation that his intricate scheme backfires so spectacularly because of his own past manipulations is a poetic justice I savor. With hours to spare, the trustees concede. The poison pill is diffused. Phoenix Studios is safe. A wave of relief so profound it almost brings me to my knees washes over me. We did it. Later that night, I find myself alone in the editing suite. The warm glow of the monitors illuminates my face. On the screen is Crimson Dawn, my restored masterpiece. My scene, the one that was cut, the one that defined Alara, now shines at the heart of the film. I watch it, not as an actress, but as the woman who fought her way back from oblivion to reclaim her voice, her story. My quiet satisfaction is immense. My fingers move surely over the editing console, making a tiny final adjustment to a transition, perfecting a sound cue. This is where I belong. Not just in front of the camera, but here, in control, shaping the narrative. I outmaneuver him. I vindicate not just myself, but Ilara and every character whose truth was silenced. I resurrect the film, and in doing so, I fully resurrect myself. The final edit isn't just for Crimson Dawn, it's for Maya Chen. The premiere of the re-edited Crimson Dawn is more than just a film screening. It's an event. It's a statement. The TCL Chinese Theater, a monument to Hollywood's golden age and its many reinventions, buzzes with an energy I've never felt before. This isn't just another red carpet, it feels like a coronation. I arrive not as Maya Chen, the struggling actress, but as Maya Chen, head of Phoenix Studios. The flashes of cameras are blinding, a stark contrast to the shadows I've operated in for so long. Tonight, I'm stepping into the light on my own terms. The gown I wear isn't borrowed, it's chosen, a fiery crimson that speaks of ashes and rebirth. Inside, the theater is packed. The industry's most powerful players, critics, the cast and crew of Crimson Dawn, many of whom I personally reinstated, or whose contributions I ensured were finally recognized. And in the audience, dotted amongst the glitterati, are Sarah, David, Chloe, and the other artists Morrison tried to break. Tonight is for them too. The lights dim. The Phoenix Studios logo appears on screen, a stylized bird taking flight from flames, followed by the opening credits of Crimson Dawn. And there it is, my name, not buried in the supporting cast list, but prominent, starring Maya Chen. A quiet gasp ripples through the audience. They know the stories, the rumors. They know what this means. The film unspools, and it's everything it was meant to be. My scene, Ilara's powerful, soul-bearing monologue, lands with the emotional force of a thunderclap. You can hear a pin drop in the theater. When it ends, there's a beat of stunned silence, then an intake of breath, and then the applause begins. It's not polite. It's a roar, a tidal wave of sound that washes over me, drowning out years of suppressed dreams and whispered injustices. A standing ovation that goes on, tears stream down my face, hot and cleansing. I'm not just crying for myself, but for the film, for Ilara, for every artist who's ever been told they were too much or not enough. Later, at the after-party, the atmosphere is electric. People I've admired from afar come up to congratulate me, not just on my performance, but on Phoenix Studios, on the changes I'm already making. I reflect on the impossible journey, from a betrayed actress dying in the rain to the woman standing here, a victor, a leader. It feels like a dream, but it's real. Every hard-fought battle, every calculated risk has led to this moment. Across the room, I catch a glimpse of a familiar figure lurking in the shadows near the exit, trying to be inconspicuous. James Morrison. He looks older, diminished, a ghost of his former self. Disgraced and powerless, he's watching the triumph he tried so desperately to prevent. Our eyes meet for a fleeting second. There's no anger left in me, just a kind of weary pity. He's irrelevant now. He chose his path. I chose mine. During a brief lull, I step up to a small podium. The crowd quiets. Tonight, I begin, my voice clear and strong. We didn't just premiere a film, we premiered a new way of doing things. At Phoenix Studios, we believe that credit belongs where it is due. We believe in collaboration, in respect, in lifting each other up, not tearing each other down. I announced my next project for Phoenix Studios, a film titled Second Chance, a story about a woman who gets an opportunity to rewrite her past, to take control of her destiny. The irony is deliberate, a message to those who understand. The night is a whirlwind of congratulations, interviews, and shared joy. I feel like I could ascend, float right out of the room on the sheer goodwill. As I finally leave, the flash of cameras capturing my smile, my moment of absolute triumph. I know this isn't just an ending, it's a beginning. The credits have finally rolled, and my name is exactly where it always belonged. 6 months fly by in a whirlwind of creative energy and strategic growth. Phoenix Studios, against all odds and defying all cynical predictions, isn't just surviving, it's thriving. We are, by many metrics, the most successful new production company in Hollywood. Our slate of films and series, diverse and bold, champions fresh voices and untold stories. We've become a magnet for talent, for artists who are tired of the old games and hungry for a place where their work is respected and their contributions are celebrated. My office, high in the Phoenix Tower, has become a sanctuary. The gentle sound of rain, which once haunted me as a symbol of my death, now often patters against the panoramic windows, a soothing rhythm as I work. It's a reminder that storms pass and new growth follows. I look out over the sprawling city, a landscape of dreams, and I no longer feel like an outsider. I'm a part of it, shaping it, helping it evolve. I make it a priority to mentor young actresses, the ones just starting out, full of the same hopes and vulnerabilities I once had. I share my story, not the impossible parts about Rebirth, but the relatable struggles, the betrayals, the fight for recognition. I ensure they understand their contracts, that they know their worth, that they never feel alone or powerless. My quiet power move is to empower others, to build a network of support that I never had. I want them to know that they don't have to be just troopers. They can be leaders. The industry accolades start to come in, not just for our productions, but for the way Phoenix Studios operates. We win awards for diversity and inclusion, for ethical business practices, for fostering a collaborative environment. One evening, I find myself at a gala, not as a hopeful nominee, but as an honoree. I'm receiving an award for championing women's rights in entertainment. As I walk to the stage, a montage of Phoenix Studios' achievements plays on the giant screen. Clips from our successful films, testimonies from artists whose careers we've revitalized, images of our diverse and vibrant team. It's overwhelming. My acceptance speech isn't about me, it's about us. It becomes a rallying cry for the powerless, for those who have been marginalized and exploited by the old guard. For too long, I say, my voice ringing with conviction, talent has been seen as a commodity to be controlled, voices as inconvenient truths to be silenced. But the landscape is changing. The power is shifting. To every artist out there who has ever been told to be less, to shrink, to fit into a mold not of your own making, I see you. Your time is now. Your stories matter. Let us build a Hollywood that reflects the richness and diversity of the human experience, a Hollywood where everyone gets to be the author of their own story. The applause is deafening, a wave of genuine emotion and support. It's more than I could have ever dreamed. My final quiet power move, the one that brings my journey full circle, is announced the following week. Phoenix Studios is launching a scholarship fund, a significant one, dedicated to supporting emerging filmmakers and writers from underrepresented backgrounds. It's named the Maya Chen Foundation. My original name, the name of the actress who died in the rain, but whose spirit never gave up. It's a tribute to her, to the dream she almost lost, and a promise to the future. I want her to be remembered not as a victim, but as a catalyst. The story ends, but it also continues. I'm back in the editing suite late at night. The whisper of film reels, the soft hum of the machines, the warm studio lights. These are the sounds and sights of my true home now. My fingers are steady on the controls as I work on our next film, a story of courage and resilience. The lights that once seemed so harsh and unforgiving now illuminate my path, my true story. I am no longer just an actress in someone else's production. I am the editor, the producer, the creator. I am Maya Chen, and I am finally, truly in control. My rebirth wasn't just about reclaiming a lost life. It was about transforming an entire world, one frame, one story, one empowered artist at a time. And this, I know, is only the beginning.